Hello, ladies and gentlemen.
Où c'est chaud? Allez.
Василий.
Ой, да все, я больше не могу. Переключите этих душных людей на меня. Посмотрите, кто пришел к нам. Это целая... Даша Перова. Привет всем.
Hello, my honey.
And this is something we got from one of our beloved super testers.
Perfectly balanced.
Comfortable slippers.
Happy birthday,
Dear Lord of Potatoes.
Наши кланы очень сильные, ты что?
Да?
Да я... Егор, не задавай мне вопрос.
Even ship Jesus may make mistake.
Я не доехал.
Один мне говорит, едь, другой, не едь. Ты вообще слился.
Oh, jemand ist auf mir gespawnt. Hallo?
Отпустите домой, пожалуйста.
Why you have to be mad? It's only game.
Let's battle!
Sorry guys, itchy nose.
Oh my god!
Go.
Still have to pick Flamu's favorite meme.
I send my regards.
Подпишитесь на наш канал. Всех обнял. Всем пока, ребят. Вы самые лучшие.
Why is Femme in the trailer still?
Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Well, if you're German, welcome back. Otherwise, welcome to the English-speaking update stream for update 0.9.4 with a lot of cool shit coming out. And I hope you had a good week and that everything went fine with you for the update and you're already ready to go. Today, it will be with not Mr. Conway, because Mr. Conway is currently on vacation, so the twins have been separated for the next 2 weeks. I know it's hard for all of us, but I'm not alone. With me here is Mr. Tuccy, and hello, Tuccy.
Hello world. I hope you can hear me because, well, it seemed to work well in the streams. If I'm deafening you or something, let us know. And let's hope we will have fun together.
Okay, so guys, let us know whether this is working fine for you. You can see Mr. Conway's spirit is here with us on this side, going for torpedoes into our side. I'm sure there are plenty of questions about the Kirov, the Moskva, Russian cruiser split, and so on. We will be happy to answer them for you. And für die Deutschen, wir sind jetzt auf Englisch live, daher bitte eure Fragen auf Englisch stellen. So we're happy to answer whatever questions you have, but we'll just go quickly through the update to show you what is going on and what to expect from this update. I hope most of the things should be clear, hopefully, through the portal article, but we're very happy to, answer whatever remaining questions you might have.
And pay attention, there will be a test. Or rather, as is becoming our tradition, we will soon share the update survey with you, and you will be able to tell us what you think about the newest update.
Yes. Who are you and what have you done to Chris? It was my barber.
No, this is the nice twin, He managed to escape from the cellar. We need to keep him locked up better.
Yeah. Wargaming, please nerf Monarch. Still one of my favorite names out there. It says Mr. Conway is busy playing co-op. Probably. With the changes we made to co-op, he can even stay longer in battles. In co-op battles. And who else said something? I think it was Freakon saying, hey, you look relaxed and happy. Maybe it's because I'm not living under constant fear getting torpedoed by my teammate, Mr. Conway. Maybe that's, leading to me looking a bit more relaxed. But actually, I think it's a good week. It's like life seems to come back to normal, at least here for us in Prague. And I hope that for you out there, that first of all, you're safe, you're healthy, and that life is slowly but steadily returning to normal. It's still a weird world out there, to be honest. My barber, actually, I went to the barber today. So a little bit of, not game-related talk, but you're stuck with me, so you'll just have to listen to this. I went to the barber today with a mask, obviously. And my barber had a mask, and then he had like a plastic, like a police shield in front of him to shield him, from the customers. I'm sure it's like mandatory for him to do that, but it must be so awkward to work like this. It's like if anybody would have told me this like 6 months ago, that this is the new normal, I would have laughed or, like just said, funny. Not believing that the world is coming to this, yes. Anything to announce today, Brand? No. Outside of the new update and going through it, there's not really much to announce right now. More announcements will follow probably later in the month. So just stay tuned for that.
Just give us some time because we just released one update, right?
We need a cardboard cutout of him or a mop with his picture on it. Ace of Spades, that's an interesting idea. Unfortunately,
interesting idea, yes.
Maybe Tuccy can, start building stuff in the background. You could, a drawing will do for now.
Maybe we can have the entire team here this way.
Yes. We can actually put them on the green screen, in the background. Yeah, like a little mop.
Like those things you have on the castles, right? The wooden boards with the head on them. Absolutely. No pink bunny camo with big floppy ears yet. No defeats. Maybe next year for Easter. Maybe. But I think you have to do more lobbying for that very specific camo. Or skin. That's definitely going to be a skin. But if you imagine that the ears would be floppy, during battle and, when you... I don't know, maybe. Maybe there's an appeal. Conway with another skin? No, that's certainly not possible. We can be sometimes seen in the same room together.
So, and the Soul is asking a question about how do you get the 2,100 Soviet tokens with the new premium ships? Okay, so I'll just quickly, Mr. Tuccy won't be visible, but he can talk in the background. We will still hear you, Tuccy, just also for your information. So I'll just go through the update here together with you guys, and then I'll answer that question. One shout out here when switching to the portal. First of all, stream rewards for 0.9.4. There are 2 missions in there, the first 2 missions actually, for this week and for next week, that are going to be giving you Soviet cruiser containers. So, please pay attention to this. You can find all of the information in that article. And the epic drop for this month is the Krasny Krim. That's greetings from your twins. And then we have on Friday, so tomorrow, there is a special stream on Twitch for NA Primetime, but maybe you're interested in that. It's very interesting if you're into the history of ships, because we're going to have the veteran Bob Batterson, the captain, who survived Pearl Harbor, actually join us on stream. And I think that's a really cool initiative. And if you're into history, that's going to be very interesting. So if you are interested, you can also find all of the information in this article over here. But let's jump to the Soviet cruisers. If you want to hear about this update from a beautiful woman, then you can go for Dasha's video, obviously. But here with me, so we'll talk about quickly what's in the update. So one of the main content pieces, obviously, Soviet cruisers are in early access, which means you can get your hand on the Tier 8 and the Tier 9, the Tallinn and the Riga. Plus, you can also, through the Soviet tokens, which are used as the currency to obtain them, you can also get the Mikoyan, which is a Tier 5 premium cruiser, very close to the Kirov. What makes them special? Well, this doesn't come as a surprise, right? If you know the other Soviet cruisers that we have in the game, they have a very, very decent AP shells with excellent penetration, good ballistics with a very decent shell speed as well. So less overpens and better ricochet angles. But on the other hand, you don't have the best reload time, and you have a special accuracy setting, which means that on very long ranges, they're not going to be as accurate as other cruisers. So probably best to stay, on mid-range, not show broadsides, because the broadsides are vulnerable, but you have a decent bow armor, at least on the lower part, with the icebreaker part. So that's something that can make your life easier. Plus, you get the radar 12 kilometers as usual for these new cruisers. How to obtain them? Soviet cruiser tokens. Actually, let me show this. Oh, I need to actually switch my client to English. I will do this in the background in a minute. Before we go into the armory, there are 3 ways you can obtain these Soviet tokens. So first of all, you can get these tokens through the daily shipments. So, for the next 2 weeks, we have 10 daily shipments. You can miss 4 days. You will still be able to get in total 6 Soviet containers out of that. Then you can get 48 out of the directives, including the permanent camouflage for Mikoyan at the very end of directive number 4. And if you want to get 7 additional containers, you can get them through the Twitch drops missions. As I said, this week's mission is actually available in all game modes, so also for the co-op players out there, you can get some additional containers through that mission. And the mission the week after is actually for ranked and PvP. So go grab your additional Soviet containers in total. So you would be able to get up to 61 if you take all of the stuff from the missions that we have. And then there was the question about the missions for the Piotr Bagration, the Ochakov, and the Mikoyan. So there is a challenge in-game, and that is a weekly challenge. And that's why in total it's 30, you have 7 times you can do this for example, Bagration. So you can get 210 in 1 week, and you can do this 4 times. Same thing for Ochakov, same 7 times 30, 4 times, gets you that. And then for Mikoyan, you can get 7 times 15 tokens, also 4 times each week. So that in total brings you up to 2,100 additional tokens you can get. Yes, so that's that for Soviet cruisers. It works, these containers work the same way as they did for the European DDs, in a sense that there is a random amount of the tokens inside the box. So you have to get, you can get lucky, you can get unlucky, depends on your RNG, what you actually get out of there. And what else do we have? Yes, we have the revamped Black Sea port. It's now called the Novorossiysk port. If you like it, go check it out. Otherwise, feel free to just select the port that you like best. Outside of that, we have the Submarine Battles coming. Not right away with this update. No, they're starting in 2 weeks' time. So you have plenty of time to focus on, the Soviet cruiser stuff right in the beginning. And then we have the Submarine Battle event happening in a separate mode. Please, be aware of that. It's a separate mode. It's going to happen on tier 6, and there will be more details on how this mode is going to work. Overall, it's very close to the public test version that hopefully all of you tested, or at least most of you. And yes, we know there are certain aspects that we saw also from feedback, in terms of like how's the counterplay as a battleship, as an aircraft carrier, and so on. We're working on this. It's not going to be implemented for this specific test, no, but we're working on this for the future. But for now, we want to see how this actually works in the live server environment, where everybody's playing on the regular server with a better distribution of ships. And then, we'll do this step by step. So please, mark this in your calendar, be part of the test, and please share the same amazing feedback that you did during the public test events, because you did an amazing job. I cannot thank you enough for the amount of really, really constructive feedback you gave. And I hope we can also show you that we're taking this into consideration. Seahorn, and I hope that, for example, addresses your comment, right? It's not just DDs. It's also, we already gave depth charges to light cruisers, and we're working on some cool concepts for battleships. And for CVs, cannot really talk much about details yet because it's too early, but we have some ideas how we can do this in a fun way. And then one of the biggest changes...
is it a fun way or a fun and engaging way?
I hope that it's going to be engaging in a not memey way. Then one of the biggest changes that we made recently is the enhanced consumables, which means that all of the premium consumables that we used to have turn basically into free consumables. We'll just from now on call them enhanced consumables, because there are no 2 types anymore. It's just 1 type. It's for free. All of your premium consumables and the consumable containers that you had in-game were already exchanged for credits. So if you just logged in and you go to your notification tab on the right, you will probably see some kind of like, hey, you just got X amount of credits. That's where it's coming from. It's just like a compensation for these consumables. And that should make your life, first of all, easier in terms of making money in the game. And second of all, quality of life. If you, for example, like me, have a lot of ships, you don't have to worry about, oh, did I actually mount my premium consumables because they're already pre-mounted.
Or if you are Mr. Conway.
Yes. Mr. Conway is going to be very happy about this change. Very happy. You see, you haven't improved the loading time in the armory. Well, it's on our to-do list to improve the armory as well in terms of loading time. But that's a different aspect because it's actually a web-based system. So a bit of a different area to work on. Then we also have ranked battles starting next week already. Thanks to your feedback. It's going to happen on tier 7, not on tier 9 or tier 10. And it's going to be in a 7 versus 7 environment. You can earn up to 4,700 steel. I know there's going to be a question about, oh, why not as much steel as, for example, last season? That's because usually rewards are tied to the tier where it's happening on. And, that might always change from season to season, but that is related to the tier it's happening on. You can already see the map. arrangement here, and I'm very happy to see Trident again, because that's one of my favorite maps for ranked. Outside of that, a few things to highlight. I mean, obviously there were some changes, like for example, you're now able to preview ships through the tech tree that you haven't unlocked yet. You can also just purchase them through this, which is nice quality of life change. But something I wanted to highlight is the map loop got changed significantly. If you take a look at all of the changes from east to west, with significantly smaller islands. And for example, the big island on the right was removed completely. So please share your feedback about this change. I personally think it's a good change because it makes the map more accessible. But maybe you feel differently or you feel the same way. Either way, tell us, please. Give us feedback. Small change to Atlantic. You will see this here, where I'm moving this on the very top of the map. This island, it's gone. It's here, it's gone. It's here, it's gone. That's the change we made. And then for you co-op players out there, I know there are many of you, and we got some feedback from you that, the co-op battles are over too quickly. So we're actually changing this. In the domination mode, we basically up the points by 100, the starting points, which means that the games shouldn't end as quickly as they did. And I hope that makes your co-op battles more fun. Outside of that, a few things, there are a lot of game balance changes, content additions, and so on. I'll just give you the highlights. First of all, shell ricochet animations are back. Whoop, whoop. We'll try to actually spot it in-game. We fixed the bomber desync that we had in-game, with dive bombs being desynced. And we are working on the shell desync. That's going to take a bit longer, probably 2 or 3 updates, if not longer. We'll have to see, but we're working on it and try to fix it as soon as possible. And then we have, in terms of balance changes, North Carolina got actually better armor now from 37 to 38 millimeters, which makes a big difference in terms of how HE interacts with that. And then the Hydro acoustic surge was added for the German DDs on mid-tier. So the T-22 gets the Hydro, and the stock Gede configuration is also already with Hydro, which should make these DDs also more fun to play. And the last change I wanted to highlight is actually Rapid and Resolute containers are back in the armory for 6k coal, which means if you were not able to finish your Italian collection to get the commander Luigi Sansonetti, you will be able to do this now. Just use your coal and you will be able to get them. Okay, sounds good, hopefully. And maybe. And with this, I think we can slowly transition into the game. I'll bring Mr. Tuccy back here into the fold. Yeah. Tuccy, I'm sure you saw some questions. Is there anything that was
yes,
very
so
noticeable?
Based Cigar is asking, the game is saying right now the sub battle is not available at the moment. Yes, because the submarine battle will start on May 27. So you just have to wait still a bit, but they will be there.
Exactly.
And to that, there is another question. When will researchable subs start in the game? Maybe.
That's the best answer we can give you. Look, we are trying to avoid the mistakes that we made with the CV rework by rushing things. So we're doing this step by step, and we'll keep this in a separate mode until we feel this is at a point where we could introduce this as a researchable, option in the game to also be part of random battles. So give us time.
Captain Otto Kahler on Twitch. Why do I have to sell my Moskva? Well, you don't have to sell her, but if you do, then you get some credits on top.
Exactly. It's because the way it works, right?
Basically, if you want to maximize the profit from the switchover, sell the Moskva before the next update hits, or reset the tech tree branch, which has the same effect, and that's it.
Yeah, and if you feel unhappy, you can always just blame Mr. Conway.
Yes,
that's
for everything. Like if your internet collapses, Mr. Conway. If your tea goes cold, Mr. Conway. He is responsible for everything.
Everything, basically, yes. Will you reduce the price of legendary modules? Very too high now. Cavill, I don't think we're going to make any significant changes to that, but we're going to probably make research points available in other ways as well. So for example, I think in the recent devlog post we had on Monday or Tuesday, we announced that there will be, for example, research points available in daily missions. to those who already have access to the Research Bureau. And we'll see what else we can do to, make research points more widely available. Can we have some new IGN special captains, please? Karamba? Maybe. But I think it's probably like most things, for example, now you see a lot of Soviet content being introduced into the game because now we have a Soviet arc. And I'm sure that if we have a new IGN arc, there will be more IGN stuff, including potentially a commander. I never had the Moskva before. Should I buy her or just research? Just research. That's all you have to do. And my personal piece of advice to those who want to min-max, if you are looking to get some additional research points, the most clever way to approach this is to reset the Moskva branch before the Moskva change happens with update 0.9.5.
Actually, what I did today morning.
Because the great thing is, you then can, because the research points from the Moskva that you can get by playing the Moskva will be moved to the Alexander Nevsky with a bonus, so you get additional research points for that. And you can basically just grind your way to the Alexander Nevsky and still get the points, which is very nice, in my opinion. So, like maybe a piece of advice how to get your maximum of research points out of that. CV legendary mods? Maybe. Is on our to-do list to implement into the game. And is there divisioning up today? Yes, Ustadi is already asking in game. We are, as usual, happy to play with you. And since today my twin is missing and we are doing proper social distancing here from Mr. Tuccy to me, he cannot actually play with us today. Yeah, do it.
Okay, let's...
If, as long as you don't hit the camera, that's fine. So, see? So, proper social distancing. It was at least 5 seconds. It was flying kilometers. So, yes, you can contact me in-game, and I will be happy to invite you.
And while you are contacting Mr. Crysantos, I will share the promised survey in both chats on Twitch and on YouTube. So, Twitch first.
And guys, please, fill out that survey. It's very important to us to see what you think about the game. And for that, I encourage you, just fill it out. It doesn't take a lot of time. It takes maybe like 4 to 5 minutes, if at all. And we have it in one place where we can see what you think about the game currently. And with this, I'll actually switch over to the game.
Sahales, you joker.
What did he do?
I missed the survey. Can you share again? Okay, you asked for it.
Even when Conway isn't here, Crysantos gets topped. Yes, I feel absolutely bullied here. So what I wanted to show in the combat mission tab. So because we had this question about how to get to 2,100 points. So if you're somebody who bought either all of these ships or just one of these ships, or you unlock the Mikoyan with Soviet tokens, what you can see, you get these 15 Soviet tokens for, let's say, Mikoyan. You have this counter here, which is you may complete this challenge 7 times, and that should reappear each week. So that's the way you get to this number. So in total, you have here, 7 times 30 is what, 210? Another 210, so we're at 420, and then we have 7 times 15 is 105, I think. So we're at 525, so 4 times that, yes, that's the math, it's 2,100. So that's how you get to that number. And yep, that's it. So we'll just play. But chat, what are we going to play? Obviously, we have the Mikoyan. We also have the Piotr Bagration, and I still don't know how to pronounce it properly. And in Germany, we called it Bagger. So if you have a good suggestion how to call this ship in the future, with the nickname, chat, this is your time. Kalispera to you as well.
Oh, guys, if you are getting 403 forbidden or something, give it a bit of time. Maybe the survey server is a bit tired.
Or try a different browser. Unfortunately, sometimes the browsers are acting up. The baguette is already taken. That's the Dunkirk.
Once again, the Bagration. No, that's a good question.
Maybe baggy, but we'll have to see. Can you answer chat questions? Peter Room, we're answering chat questions.
Yes.
But we cannot answer all of them at the same time because there are a few thousand of you and there are 2 of us with limited talking time. So we try, man. We try very hard, actually. You probably won't find another developer stream every week where so many questions are answered. So, chat, but he didn't tell me what to play. So I'll just play the baggy and see what we can do with it. So tier 8.
Why can't we get survivors when a ship is sunk? Well, generally H rating.
Yes. So guys, this is the beautiful ship we were talking about. Just to quickly show you what that ship is about. So first of all, it has 180mm turrets, double, triple turret here.
Guys, if I have Moscow and I don't sell it, will I get Petropavlovsk? No.
Guys, you will have to research both Alexander Nevsky and the Petropavlovsk, just like any other new tech tree that is out there. But you can already start collecting on the Donskoy.
If I reset Moskva and have 2 times multiplier on that doubles, that also the bonus. Well, yeah, if you have the double multiplier on the line, then that is kept even if you reset it.
But I think he means the bonus that you will get on the Alexander Nevsky. I'm not 100% sure because that's very specific. We'll actually have to double check about this. But you will definitely keep the multiplier on the Nevsky. So, because that's going to transition to the tech tree ship. So, just talking here about the ship, right? You see 180mm turrets, 11 seconds reload time. So that's okay. We see 18.5 kilometers of range, which is really nice on tier 8 with 180mm. So that's definitely a plus for the ship. And you do have really good AP. You can see that HE, 30mm of penetration. So if you want to go through, BBs on the same tier, you will have to pick IFHE, which I actually did for my commander, who's currently not on the ship. 8-kilometer torpedoes. In quintuple launches, you have one on the left, one on the right, and 55 knots, so they're not going to be the fastest. So that's just something to keep in mind. Good AA for a tier 8 ship, so you can help yourself, which means you won't be able to shoot down all of the planes that are incoming, but repeating attacks will definitely be harder for a CV compared to other cruisers. And then speed is good, 34.5 with a bad turning circle, 890 meters, not the best. I'm using the rudder shift module to, wiggle that butt. And outside of that, the concealment currently at 12.2. If I'm moving the commander here, we're going to be at 11 flat. So that's it. That's the ship. Overall, in terms of, always good to check out the armor. The upper parts are definitely light cruiser parts, 25mm. If you play against it, aim for this section. You have a icebreaker belt here with 40mm. So, keep that in mind if you want to overmatch where to shoot. And then you have 152mm belt here, which means if angled, bounces well. But if you show broadside, you can see that ship has a very high citadel. You're going to be eating a lot of damage. So, learn your angles. It will help you a lot to stay alive.
Yeah, there was someone, I missed the nickname, mentioning in the chat that there is a slow loading on the armory. Well, if you are facing such a problem, give it a few minutes, try again, and if it still persists, then let us know through the support portal.
So somebody was asking in-game, how long is the stream going to run for? Well, roughly another 90 minutes, maybe a bit longer, depending on how much fun I'm having. Because I've already streamed for 2 hours in German, so it's a long day. It's a very long day today. So, and we'll just jump into battle. Can we have girls' voices for the F keys, please? Carla, you mean for the quick commands? That's the first time I've ever read that question, to be honest. I would say it's unlikely, but we can definitely pass it along.
Unless you have a girl captain.
Yes, if you want to have a poi girl, screaming into your ears, I'm sure there's demand for that.
Well, and there's the Dasha.
Happa is asking, how is Crysantos supposed to get team killed? Well, I mean, Conway didn't stream snipe, so I hope I'm safe. But then again, you never know. It's like I already got physically topped here by Mr. Tuccy.
But that wasn't a team kill.
That's true. Roman Pixel says armor is in Russian, not in English. Oh, that sounds like a bug. Please report it to us and make sure that you're not using any mods. Clean your mod folder and see if it's still persisting. If that is the case, please create a Wargaming check and send it to our customer support, and we'll happily take a look at it. So I'm going to move here to the left towards the C cap. And what do we have?
Sichtwerk. I miss skirmishes generally. Oh yeah, the naval battles, because there is no information in the port that something is going on. What do you think about the status, like with containers, skirmish ongoing, 50 versus 54 points? Well, that's a good point. We are having such problems sometimes as well here. Well, then, like it's also a thing for the clan commander, generally clan functionaries, to just go and poke people. Hey, turn on a naval battles.
Which we do, for example, internally every week, and still half of the people forget. So
using the mod station, yes, using the mod station is allowed, but especially shortly after the update, not all mods are necessarily updated, you know? So it might take some time. I mean, generally the mod makers got much faster recently, but still, if there is some issue like, I don't know, Russian texts where it shouldn't be, or English text where it shouldn't be, that might be a doing of the mods.
yes. So you can see, guys, over here, these are the new in-game symbols for the consumables. Well, feel free to share some feedback. I think there's not like any major change, but if you get confused why this is the case, we just wanted to make them,
Panzerny 102 on YouTube. I have one question. Are Yugoslavian ship part of the Soviet Tech Tree? If they had them, as far as I know, no ship that Yugoslavia ever had is represented in the Soviet Tech Tree. No class. But if we add any Yugoslavian ship in the future, they would more likely be in the European Tech Tree. But yeah, right now there are no Yugoslavian ships in game, to my knowledge, apart from the Viribus Unitis, which was Yugoslavian for 1 day.
Okay, I'm switching back to AP here. A question for you, Mr. Tuccy. When is Wargaming going to introduce Star Destroyers?
When they manage to design them without the shield generators.
Okay. Might be a new consumable, though. Okay, come on, show me the beautiful broadside, because AP can be very strong on the ship. I'm main target here right now. But if you angle properly, you actually can tank quite
Are
a
you
bit.
ever going to give out the missions again for emblem patches, Big Mummy and Constitution ever again? Maybe. I think this is more question for our American colleagues, because both patches are related to their events, so might be better to ask it tomorrow in their stream.
Hapafodder is in chat, so maybe he can take a look at this.
Hapafodder and I guess Gneiseno will be there somewhere as well. So
Gneiseno is always here, and a big shout out to Gneiseno. He's one of our NA staff members, and he's playing on EU a lot. He's actually, oh, sorry, Mr. Mogami.
He's basically like pulling us up in the naval battles recently.
I'm trying to reverse, bro. I'm trying to. Oh man, I hope I'm not getting him killed here. I would be really mad about myself if that happened, but he's fine. This is fine. Like, I cannot reverse more. I'm stuck on him. That's sometimes really annoying.
Crysantos and Mr. Conway as Kriegsmarine special captains with voiceovers when we find out how to limit a captain only to co-op.
I'm really sorry, Mogami, that we're stuck here, and I hope I won't get us both killed.
Bowslayer is asking, why aren't you using the new Russian base as a port? Because
I personally prefer this port. It's just like this new port, the port from last time, right? Is such a beautiful port that I just want to keep it. It's my favorite port. So like I looked at Novosibirsk, but Novorossiysk, but it's nice, but I just prefer the fjords one.
Yes. There is a question about until when you can do the Victory Salute camouflage missions.
15th, I think. 15th.
Yes, but it's 15th early morning, 5 UTC, 7 Central European time, at least on the EU server. So yeah, basically you should try your best to finish them today.
I wish our CV would spot that DD, because that DD is going to come for the CV. So
Lee Benson on YouTube. I'm sorry it has to be me that informs you of this, but the Kremlin is the monster.
does it haunt you at night?
It seems so.
It is a very good ship. Right?
Twitch TV SK1XX. You mentioned that you are thinking of giving us an opportunity to gather the Hamburg flag due to the unpredictable cancellation of the 4th birthday. Did I miss it, or it didn't happen yet? It didn't happen yet, as far as I know, right?
Yes, but I'll try to make it part of the next German stream, which is on the 26th. Man, our CV, can't you?
Ricky Breckenridge. Could we have more American battleships? We have already quite a lot of them. I mean, obviously some more will be probably maybe coming if we find some suitable ones, but yeah.
Sorry, had to caps lock at our CV a bit, because he's striking on the other side of the map while there's definitely a DD right next to him, and we're losing our Roma Ustadi because he was trying to, defend these BBs and probably ate some torpedoes as well.
Crysantos, you are using main battery modification 2 on your bagration. Turret is turning quicker than my bagration.
Yes, I'm using turret traverse because for me it's I play it by feeling. And for me it's like, if I cannot get my turrets on time quickly enough, that's lost DPM. And I hate lost DPM. Okay, he's burning. He's shooting HV for whatever reason you would do that in an Alabama. There's the Cleveland. Man, this doesn't look very promising right now. So,
okay, so
challenge accepted, I guess.
While Mr. Crysantos is fighting for his life, I'm going to spam the survey once more.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the game's already over!
For those of you that had trouble loading it last time.
This was not a good match. I mean, I didn't really contribute that much, but overall, like, how can it be over so quickly? It's like, what, 5 minutes? It felt like? 8 minutes. Well, our team definitely, and I didn't do much. I cannot really complain, to be honest. I cannot complain. As a team, we decided to not fight this, so we'll definitely try this again. I was too busy cuddling with other ships. If you were to complete all directives for the Soviet cruisers early access, what is the intended ship camo that an average player gets to? Oh, Harrison, I don't know. That's like a statistical number that you could get to. I think you're going to land somewhere in the middle. I mean, being able to get to the very top, you probably have to spend some money. And, get some additional random bundles that we have. But if you, for example, use the premium ships and just the missions, plus you get the Twitch missions, plus daily shipments, that's a lot of tokens you can rack up. But since it's very RNG dependent, I cannot give you a clear answer to that.
LR4520 or IR4520, I noticed with the aircraft carriers that one is way better for aiming than the others, and it seems to me that the German premium aircraft carrier is way better than the rest. Well, the aiming itself is a bit more intuitive than with the rest, but I mean, we are getting all the time complaints that the Graf Zeppelin is too weak, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the aiming is slightly more comfortable, but on the other hand, you pay for it by other factors.
Barjark is asking, why does Wargaming mess around with fictional ships? Because we have to. I understand that, everybody wants to have historical ships. We want to have historical ships in the game, right? But there's a limited amount of them. And even if you think about tech trees that we have in the game, there are fictional, or not fictional, but, paper designs that weren't built or not finished in our game. And actually in a lot of the tech trees that we have, because we have to, find a way to incorporate the 10-tier system and history into our game. And that's just a necessary evil, so to say, that we need to have that kind of approach. And that's true, for example, if you take a look at the German battleships, even if you take a look at the Japanese battleship, the Izumo was never built. It's still in there. So it's something that we have to do. And yes, I know that, for example, Italian battleships are something that a lot of people are looking forward to, and it's something that we're looking forward to as well to have in the game. But let's say we would implement them right now, we would still have to implement more ships and tech trees, and they have to come from somewhere. And yes, we can use a lot of sister ships and so on, but it wouldn't really create a lot of diversity in gameplay. So yes, we have to use fictional designs, or let's say theoretical designs as well, to provide you with, cool things to do in the game. Because our game is a lot of things, but it's not a simulation. It's more on the arcade side, and definitely gameplay and fun in the game is a higher priority as historical accuracy. We're trying to be as close as possible to the historical things and armor schemes, and if you take a look at our models, we spend a lot of time and effort on getting these things right. But this is a necessary evil we have to have in the game. Maybe if you give these complaining people 10 Fletchers, they will be happy. We can give them 100 Fletchers, and they're all historically accurate, but it would all feel the same. With slight variations of different upgrades and so on, but overall it would be roughly the same game experience, and I don't think you would like that. I mean, yes, there are games out there that provide you with exactly the same stuff, just in different colors, but I personally, at least a reason why I'm playing World of Warships is because there's so much variety out there. There's so many different ships to discover, ships to play, different play styles and unique ways of doing it, and some ships are really good to play, some ships are very challenging to play. And I like that aspect. Not everybody will, I understand. But for me, I think it's actually one of the reasons why so many people also stick with the game.
Benjamin Zute, will there be German CVs? Yes, there will be. We've released recently on the developer blog a list of the planned German CV line, which would go all the way from tier 4 to tier 10. So yes, you met tier 4 Rhine in the battle because we have started the live testing of them.
He's turning away, so there must be a triplet.
Jon Snow, you play World of Warships because you work there, lol. No, we work here because we played World of Warships.
Dude, like if you want to make a statement like this and not make a fool out of yourself, back it up with facts. And the fun fact is that I'm working for this game because I love it and because I played it before, and I even was a streamer for this game, and then I started working for the game. Same thing is true actually for Tuccy. Tuccy used to do very different things, and he joined this company because he was a huge fan of World of Tanks, correct?
Yes, the World of Tanks got me into the company, and then World of Warships got me away from World of Tanks.
So nice try, dude. But better luck next time. Shit talking has to be a skill that has to be acquired and refined. You're not quite there yet, buddy. Oh, this is gonna be. It's gonna be spicy. Is he moving in here?
Why not make one ship upgradable so that you can use it multiple tiers, like upgrade a ship from tier 4 to tier 5 and then tier 6? Well, some ships would allow this, but then again, wouldn't it get boring to play the same ship for a lot of time? Because you have to realize that basically the progress would have to be still kind of the same speed so that it works out in the overall tier system. So you would have to spend a lot of time on such ship. I mean, for example, if you take the West Virginia, you can easily have her spend from tier 6 to tier 8 just by upgrading from the original Super Dreadnought model through the just before the World War II up to the late war modification that was really quite a beast, even though it was quite a slow beast. But then you would be playing the same ship over and over and over and over and over again, and I'm going to say and over until Crysantos throws torpedo back at me.
I'm a patient man. We already lost 2 DDs. It's gonna be difficult today, I feel. Nobody plays West Virginia. That's not true.
Yeah, plenty of people do.
But I mean, she's not one of the most sold. Oh no! I wanted to get away with this before you have my broadside. This is gonna hurt a lot.
Yeah, I mean, she's kind of one of the ships that are solid performers, are actually fun to play, but don't have like a very special thing. So she's fun, but yeah. Sean Esquilona, this game, World of Warships, what was it like in the Baltic Sea while Pacific Oceans and the Atlantic Seas? Because in Sweden we had warships, but what was their role in both world wars? Well, Sweden stayed neutral, but that didn't mean that they didn't have a quite interesting navy, especially the Swedish coastal battleships and some Allied cruisers were quite interesting designs. And they, after all, did play a role in the hunt for Bismarck when they basically were the first ones to spot Bismarck and to report it, which then, by an accident, got to the British naval intelligence. But apart from that, the Baltic was a theater of war. There was not many like naval battles, but there was a lot of in both world wars. There was a lot of action with the mine laying, mine sweeping, and even some small amphibious operations. So yeah, it was a very specific sea to have a war in, because it's quite shallow, quite with quite a lot of islands, so it was a bit more static than in the oceans.
Phew. So I needed to go dark here because I cannot take a Tirpitz and Bagration by myself, and the Amalfi is running.
How about the Tillman maximum battleships the Americans had drawn? You could give those ships a try. As with every such question, maybe. I mean, the Tillmans are very interesting designs, even though a bit probably impractical, but yeah.
This is a challenging game. I don't know how to turn it around. I'm so far away from the action, but I cannot. I need to wait for this Tirpitz to... Yes, look the other way, Thank you.
Crysantos, do you like the teams how are full of potatoes?
Just like anybody, I'm not a fan of that. But then again, if like the average player is not going to be a unicum, right? Because like you need to be very good at the game to be a unicum. I think what if there's anything that I'm not happy about is the lack of team play that you see, which is also related to people rather bitching at each other than trying to help each other. Because mostly what I see is, people claiming, oh, look at this team, look at that, they should be doing this, but not really communicating in the game. And that's something that I find really frustrating, that people, rather be salty and, say, no, I reported you, instead of trying to figure out, hey, is there any way I can, encourage my team to play in a different way?
Now there is a question on YouTube from Woes. What's the recommended playstyle for the Bagration?
Oh, I would say mid-range. I mean, right now, the reason why I cannot really play the ship like I wanted to play is because our team is not in a position to really apply pressure. So I was forced to I made the decision. Oh, I'm not. It was close. I made the decision to turn very closely to that enemy because I wanted to get into this position, but without losing like 20k HP in the process. And that's what I had to do. Overall, I would say if you can stay on mid-range with the ship, initially, you will be able to get good salvos in on broadsides, you will be able to set good fires on enemies, and then when the dust clears a bit, you can actually go and, pick ships one by one. And you have good armor, because if you're angling, you can actually tank a lot with that HP pool, 42k health, right? And then, on top of that, you have torpedoes if you want to go for a brawl, and you're able to, heal. So I think that's a good mix of things, but right now I'm just not in a position where I can really do much, which is, I will now engage because the game is almost over and we need to do something to turn it around. But obviously, going up against the Tirpitz, which is going to, you know, secondary me very soon TM, and the border right next to me, so I cannot really turn around, it's gonna be not a great game. But overall, this ship is actually very good, in my opinion.
Michael Villar is asking, are there any plans to add new scenario battles? Not right at the moment. Right now the scenarios are kind of on a back burner, and our development team is focusing rather on somehow refreshing the randoms and the ranked and other, like, let's say, massively popular game modes.
Yeah, there we go. I think I'll have to try this again until I get a win out of this.
How am I supposed to play Odin now, because it has the health of a tier 5? I don't think it has a health of a tier 5.
Okay, so I'm sorry, let's just go into this camera mode. Sometimes, guys, I don't understand what kind of answer you expect with a question like this. How are you supposed to play the Odin because it has the health of whatever? The Odin doesn't have the health pool of, let's say, a comparable tier 8, but it has a really good armor pattern. So obviously, you need to play with that in mind. I mean, your point is here not to actually ask, like, okay, how should I adapt to be able to play this ship? You're just here to complain about it doesn't have the health pool, about, like, let's say, for example, like an Amagi or a Bismarck. We get that, you know, that the health pool change wasn't the most popular one out there, but we still think it's a balanced ship. If we see that it really suffers in terms of survivability and it doesn't perform as well, we will definitely help that ship. But overall, for us, it was like the way we wanted to approach the ship is that, you know, we can keep the core features of it, and one of the factors we reduced was the HP, which we don't really do very often, but we still think it's going to be a good ship to have. If you feel that the Odin isn't working for you because you see it doesn't have the HP pool of other battleships, then I would say then skip that ship. There are a lot of different options in this game to have on tier 8, and if that doesn't suit your, like, what you want, there are, you know, you can take a Tirpitz on tier 8, which has a significantly better health pool, but also, you know, a different playstyle. So it's really up to you. But please, you know, if you're asking these questions, I'm asking you, like try to keep it constructive, right? Like if you want to know, like, okay, why was this specific parameter changed compared to other parameters? That's a question I think, okay, you know, we can definitely think about, you know, like providing with a detailed answer for why, especially going for this specific parameter compared to other parameters. But if you don't think that the Odin will work for you because you think it's a tier 5 ship, then there are other options. Stay strong. Don't let the snowflakes get you. No, it's fine. I just want you to also understand, like, we're very happy to sit here and answer your questions. But one thing I expect from you is, you know, to, like, ask your questions in a constructive way, because you want to get an answer, right? And you want to address something. That's fine. We're here. We're listening. Like, we're taking your questions. We're very happy to, you know, interact with you and talk about the good things about the game, the bad things about the game, the things you would like to see improved, all of these things. We're very happy to be here. Otherwise, we wouldn't be doing this every single week and sitting here with you for 2 hours and answering hundreds of questions. But please, you know, keep in mind that while we're happy to do this, we are trying to give you a reasonable, good answer to your question, right? That you understand, okay, this is the reason why these guys are doing that. But for that to happen is, like, please think about how to phrase your question, because otherwise, if you're just here to pour salt somewhere, that's not going to lead you anywhere, and it's not going to lead us anywhere. Except for knowing, okay, you're salty about this. But trust me, I know about Odin not being the most popular ship in terms of HP pool. You're not the first person to bring this up. And Tuccy, a question for you maybe. Will the premium shop sell Mikoyan separately? To my knowledge, it's not in the premium shop itself, the Mikoyan. Let's check.
Not right now, but maybe in the future.
Maybe in the future, yes. I mean, right now, what you so you can definitely have it in the bundle with the other 2 tier 8s, the Ochakov and the Bagration. In terms of a premium shop, actually, let me quickly double check if it already made it into the premium shop.
Will the Insel is asking, why is the step from the tier 5 to tier 6 battleships so large? Do you mean the step in their performance, or do you mean the step in the experiencing credits? I mean, in the performance, it's just quite a big leap there from the early dreadnoughts or early super dreadnoughts to the later ones. And as for the price, well, that's where the grind starts.
Yes, so we definitely lost that game, unfortunately. But I think I'll just have to try again. And after that, we'll switch to a different ship. Unless Chad, you want to see a different ship, I'll leave it up to you.
Morgan White, how does Mikoyan differ from Kirov? Well, most of all with the caliber of the guns.
No, Mikoyan also has 180 millimeters. Actually, it's very... those ships are very close in terms of playstyle.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah, the Ochakov actually has a different caliber.
Ochakov. I have to admit, I kind of mix up these.
We can actually play the Mikoyan if you guys want to. The Mikoyan, so the way it differs is, first of all, it has more range, if I recall correctly.
Yes,
and you also get the option for a spotter plane. And but you basically trade in HP. It's like a glass cannon kind of setup. You can, with the spotting plane, you can get a really decent range, but you have to be very careful about how you interact with other, especially battleships, because it just takes, not even 2 citadels to get you out of the game. Yes, play this one? Okay, sure. Why was the legendary Montana module changed? Because it was too strong. And I think, I don't want to talk out of my ass, but I think, for example, the flooding approach, if you think about when this module was introduced, that was before the flooding changes. And now with the flooding changes, obviously this module becomes even stronger in terms of cutting down the time when you would be flooding. So it's more of like a balance change to it. It basically, what it does was too strong for that specific aspect of tanking. Okay, so Mikoyan. We can definitely play this and add a few more captains here. For example, Captain Minya and the Korvettenkapitän Prin. Oh no, he was already in the division, so somebody else will take his spot. Maybe Christie. In the meantime, so
Sputnik 1 will be sold as premium. Well, it's an intercontinental ballistic missile, basically, so I'm not sure.
So just to show you this, right? So this is the Mikoyan. It has 180 millimeter guns, 3 double barrel ones, as you can see here. You do get the regular 4 kilometer torpedoes, but you get 16.2 kilometers of range, which on tier 5 is a very, very long range. In terms of survivability, this is the big downside. You have 21k hit points.
Ricky Breckenridge, how about adding the RMS Titanic as an April Fool's joke? Well, it would be no joke. I mean, the Titanic and her sisters were all built with partial funding from the government, so they were required to have some construction adjustments that would turn them into merchant cruisers during the wartime. So, I mean, I'm poking the developers all the time. Like, we should have Olympic as a ship. She would have some 6-inch guns and no armor and stuff like that. But on the other hand, it would have to be very low tier, because like anything could do you a lot of damage.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring up here the Kirov, because that was the question, right? So if you take a look at the Kirov, and I'm just going to, because I don't really lack any credits, so let me just, upgrade this ship to comparable level. So you can see that the Kirov actually has, the additional turrets here, additional barrels per turret. So you actually have 3x3 instead of 3x2. You have a comparable range. In terms of modules, you're missing the spotting plane, so that's a downside. The speed is also very high, but overall, I think if we compare detectability, that's going to be an advantage for the Mikoyan. So it's basically you trade in a bit of option, like way to approach the game by having more range and having a better detectability, but you lose out on firepower. So it's a bit of a different approach to the ship. And yeah, so up to you to decide whether you like it or not, but it's definitely going to be a good ship to prepare for, the ships with 180 millimeters that are going to be up there. And with this, we will go into battle very soon. Cut the price for Smolensk and Hayate or buff it. I agree. So first of all, we don't want to buff ships that are absolutely fine in terms of stats. Both the Smolensk and the Hayate are good ships in themselves. They serve different roles, obviously very different roles, with Hayate being more of like a torpedo / gunboat, while the Smolensk being more of like a very, very decent cap contender, and given that it has radar, it's really good for DD hunting, has really great rate of fire, while you don't really have that on the Hayate, but you get a torpedo reload booster. And I understand that the price is very high, but it's the price that we set there, where we think, okay, this is the amount of free XP we think is the kind of level of price we want to have for that ship, and I don't think we're going to change it. And it would also be unfair to the guys who already paid 2 million free XP who have that ship. So it's definitely not something that if you're a newbie, you can afford right away. But if you're a long-term player, it's definitely an option to go for these ships and get some slightly different gameplay compared to, let's say, for example, a Haaland. Okay. Oh, and Christy's actually taking a Kirov, which is nice. So we're going to have 2 180 millimeter beasts in there. Do you plan to add cooldown messages for the command wheel? Since it's a team game, it'll help promote teamwork. So you basically can see what's the cooldown time for other teammates. Not planned right now, and it might overload things a lot if you think about all of the different consumables that are on one ship. If you have like a Cleveland in the game and having all of the different timers, that's going to be different. Or is it more about you want to be able to share what's your cooldown through the wheel? That's going to be even more difficult, I think. But I understand where you're coming from. It's for team play, it would be good to have the visibility of like what consumables do your teammates have loaded and what's the actual reload time. Okay, tier 5, tier 6, and a bit of tier 7. So we're actually going to go left here and skirmish around this area. Servus Mimi.
So there is a question: what will happen if you have a Kirov in your port when the switch over comes? Well, basically the same thing happens as with the Moskva. So if you have a Kirov researched, you will get basically the premium Kirov, the Kirov that will be moved to premium, and yeah.
Yep.
You will not lose it.
And Mobius, thank you for the kind words. It's, very much appreciated. Will there be Soviet tokens in Twitch missions? Yes. In today's mission that you can get by just watching the stream, if you have your account linked, you will be able to get, I think for today's mission is 3 containers, and next week's mission will be a 2-split mission where you can get 4 containers in total. 2 for the first part and 2 for finishing the mission chain.
Unique upgrade mission for Moskva. The time limit for the unique upgrade mission is until the end of the year, right?
For the missions, yes, they are running until the end of the year. Okay, a lot of the enemy force seems to be actually going down there, so...
when I reset the Russian cruisers, will I still get the Kirov and Moscow? If you mean the reset for the research bureau, yes.
How come especially at mid-tier ships have to be matched with tiers that are 2-3 levels higher or lower? Is it due to low player base, faster matchmaking? So, well, first of all, our game is actually designed around the +-2 matchmaking. It used to be +-3. You don't get +3 unless you make a mistake by divisioning up with somebody who's a tier higher than you. So you chill with the keyboard, Mr. Tuccy. He loves to, hammer into his keyboard, and I'm sure you guys can hear it.
I'm typing completely silently. I will bring my
silently.
Silently.
There's a different definition of silent. But so that's already part of the game. +-2 matchmaking, and that happens on all tiers. And the reason why it happens is to have more variety in the game. That you also meet different ships in different scenarios. And you can actually always deal damage in a +-2 setup. This is not like other games where if you're matched up +2, suddenly you cannot get through the armor. There will always be something you can do about it, and you get, for example, better XP scores. Oh, he's going to be very angry here. Oh, maybe you can turn. That would be nice. And so that's part of the game. And part of the reason why we don't do like +-1 or 0 matchmaking is because we need to fill the matchmaker queue. But that's not the sole reason. This game was designed to be this way with that matchmaking in mind. Oh man, I didn't. Oh wait. Can we? World is here. I thought it would be there-ish. Unless you're in a tier 10 game with a stock Mogami, then you're fucked. Well, look, if you're in a stock ship and you get up-tiered, it's going to be an uphill battle. I'm not going to lie about this, right? It's not going to be easy, but you can still do something. You just have to adapt your playstyle. It's definitely going to be more challenging than being in an upgraded Mogami or an Ibuki or something like this. But there's always something you can do. Always.
Tracker 299. Why did Bismarck become a crap ship? Shell dispersion are too wide. Well, that was kind of a thing for the German battleships from the get-go. It was like basically the Bismarck is working best if you are in the range where your secondaries open the fire, and then the dispersion doesn't troll you that much. But in general, yes, the German battleships have a large dispersion, especially at long ranges. So get closer with them.
And Ladinel, oh, you changed your mind about submarines. Obviously, we can always change our mind about how we want to approach things like the matchmaker. But like I just said, we want it to work this way. This is part of the design that we are aiming for. It's the same thing with not going for the skill-based matchmaking. It's a conscious choice from our side that we don't want to have that. So at least for random battles. So while I understand that yes. +-2 matchmaking sometimes can be frustrating. It always has been part of the game, and I think it's actually fine to have it in the game like this. And I'm speaking here as a player who, had to put up with +-3 matchmaking without mirrored CVs and so on. The matchmaker came a very, very long way. With now reduced, it's going to be hurtful, maybe? No. And that's why, I don't know, we even don't really have that much up-tiering anymore, because we even put up rules for how many battles you can actually be in and get up-tiered. So I think the matchmaker really came a long way. There's always room for improvement, and we'll do our very best to keep it, and improve it. But there are also limitations to that.
Asurian is asking, so you say if I went a cheaper Moskva, I should grind my Chapayev to the Moskva till the next patch? It's not about cheaper Moskva, but it's about the Moskva when she becomes a coal ship. So if you research the Moskva until next patch, then when the patch comes, you will get it.
Okay. Okay, should be burning down. There is the DD right next to us, which is a bit problematic. And I guess it's the Akatsuki.
Mustang
it's a
P51 A10. There is some question about having the Kirov and Moskva in port when they become premium. Some clan members are telling me to sell them to get the coins and then getting the premium versions because they were researched. Yes, they are telling you right. It's enough to have them researched. If you sell them before the update comes, you will still get the premium versions. So, yeah, you can get credits this way. Are there Italian destroyers in the works? Sudeshna Sarma? I hope I read it correctly. Maybe. It's like with all ships that are not in game yet and not announced yet. If we find a way how to implement them, if we find a way why to implement them, like give them some different behavior or stuff, they will find their way into the game eventually, hopefully.
Yeah.
Ideally, we would like to have all the ships.
Fuel hauler.
That takes time.
Fuel Hauler is asking, can you make matchmaking put bots and hacks together instead of putting them in general queue? So first of all, we're hunting anybody who's using hacks. Like, we don't want to have these people in our game, no matter in what queue. So that's a constant fight we have to do. And it's a never-ending fight, I can tell you this. You know, people will learn how to adapt, and we will, keep spanking them for it. In terms of bots, we're also hunting bots, and always try to improve, like how to figure out whether somebody's a bot or whether he's just not very good at the game, which can be actually quite tricky to find the difference.
Or very bad at the game.
Yes, and so that's a constant fight. But we don't want to have either of these groups in the game. We want people to play fair. We want people to be actual humans in the game, right? And except for the bots that are on the other side of the co-op battle, right? These guys, they are fine. They're safe for now. Wait, did he survive? Okay, now he's gone. What ship line would you most like to see added that isn't in the game yet? So I'm gonna go for the popular answer, but it's also my the truth. I'm really looking forward to at some point having Italian BBs in the game. That's my answer. Tuccy, what's your answer?
Any next destroyer line?
Even more destroyers, Tuccy?
Yes. Torpedo soup everywhere. Fraser UK, when are the PTS rewards available? I'm not sure as for other servers, but the public test rewards for EU server were activated today. Go to the page, claim them.
Yeah. And Diox is saying, what of the post on Reddit with all the details, really a popular NA team that participate in King of the Sea? I mean, obviously, if we see something like this, we'll do our very best to look into it and verify it. Because proof and not proof, like we always have to, kind of really prove that, this is happening. And we are looking into it. But there's not much more I can share about this just yet. So Akatsuki, I'm pretty sure launching torpedoes right now. That's why I'm
and since it's been some time already, I will again spam the chat with the survey link. If you didn't fill up the survey yet, please do so.
If he's not aiming at me, and he's not aiming at me, must be the Scorner aiming at me. The torpedolings. Not a very high damage game, but we played this very carefully.
For the Research Bureau, I have... Damn it, I now lost the... For the Research Bureau, I have 4 lines researched to tier 10, including in Moscow. Will I need to research 2 more lines to tier 10 to unlock the Research Bureau, or will Moscow still count as researched? I know that you were asking today specifically this question.
Sorry, I didn't pay attention.
Okay. Research Bureau Moscow. How will it work if someone doesn't have 5 lines yet?
It won't count as one of the ships in the line.
So basically, after the update, you will need to first get the... which one is it? In that line, Nevsky, right?
Yes.
You will need to get Nevsky and then another line.
Exactly. That's like one of the aspects that is a bit tricky. But since it doesn't really count as a researched ship, it doesn't really count towards the count of the amount of tier 10s that you need to unlock the Research Bureau. Unfortunately. Is there a plan to make manual secondaries work at the same time? It's weird that you can only select one target to your right, but not able to select the target to your left at the same time. Yes and no. It's a conscious choice. If you want to have that boost in accuracy, then you have to pick one target. If you just want to be able to use secondaries and they go off in all directions, I would just boost up the secondaries with the skills you have available and not go for the manual secondaries. And we're not planning to change this at the moment, at least to my knowledge.
Noah Marksman, how do you compare Ohio with Montana? Well, I don't have Ohio. I do have one. Ohio, I bought it recently. I keep forgetting about it. I don't know how to compare them best. I'm not generally a battleship guy, but generally I find Ohio maybe even a bit more comfortable to play than Montana, but yeah.
I like both for different reasons. But there's a question from Ovid saying, why can't there be an in-game check during countdown in attempt to eliminate bots? We have automated checks. Guys, look, we don't want to have bots in the game. We don't want to have guys who cheat in the game. Obviously, there are some people who do this. They're they're the exception. They are a very, very, very small fraction of the player base. And we're hunting them actively. And we do this with manual tools, with automatic tools. We're doing our best to hunt them. I can guarantee you that. We don't want you to, leave the game because you've been playing against a bot. But I can tell you that actually I'm 95% sure that those guys you consider to be bots were probably just bad players. And you have to keep this in mind. While you have players who are very good, you also have a lot of players who lack some basic understanding of the game, who maybe just played for the fun. They played for very different reasons than you do. And you might even have players who have, for example, some disabilities, who simply struggle with, like a keyboard and a mouse and so on. This is actually happening. I can tell you this from my own experience. I had this, for example, in World of Tanks, somebody contacting me, and it was the only joy in his life to play World of Tanks, and he was struggling with the actual game controls because he was a disabled person. And it's really tricky to actually, be able to control this, but it was still the fun of, the fun in his life to play the game. And to take that away from somebody is also not really a cool thing to do, in my opinion. And that's why it's not that black and white. And it comes to actual bots, we hunt them, we remove them. In terms of like somebody who's just very bad at the game, we can do, we try we try to help them to a certain degree, but there's only so much we can do. Like in any other game, each player has to decide how much time he wants to dedicate and how much effort he wants to put into becoming a better player. I wish there would be more players putting in more effort, just like you. Yes, I fully agree. But don't paint everybody who's not playing like you want him to play as a bot or something like this. It might also be, people who, for example, just disconnect from a game and, then appear like a bot because, I don't know, something happened in real life. Somebody knocked on the door, you were receiving a package, your kids unplugged the PC. Like, all of these things happen. They happen every day. It's just, I understand it's a PvP game and, it can be very frustrating at times if something is not going your way. But please keep these things in mind. Yes, ADK, it's safe to play today without Mr. Conway. At least in terms of torpedoing. In terms of winning, it has been a horrible day so far. But I hope I was able to provide some context here. And Game Changer, absolutely. I'm doing fine. I hope you're doing fine as well. And guys at home, I hope you're doing fine. I know it's a crazy year so far. The weather, I don't know, it was almost freezing this week here in the Czech Republic. It was actually freezing in my hometown in Nuremberg yesterday, and close to snow falling in the middle of May, which is really, really off, at least for Germany. And the cold COVID situation and so on, it feels like, weird times are among us. So, sorry guys, I have to play a Bagration game again just to, get it out of my system. But let me know what you want to play in the next one. Oh, actually, did I? Korvettenkapitän. Oh man, I skipped you. I skipped you, right? I'll put you in the next battle. Please remind me in chat. Please send me another message so I will see it pop up.
Anthony Scott, World of Warships, German battleships need a buff. Other streamers have done a chart of all BBs, and the German BBs are the worst in game. That's not necessarily true.
It isn't.
Sorry?
It isn't. It's not. It isn't just necessarily not true. It's not true.
The thing is, for example, which stats is who using? Because the streamers tend to take stats from the stat gathering site, which are usually biased towards highly performing players. And the German battleships are kind of a special beast. They are, I would say, pretty comfortable to play, but maybe they don't have as much potential on the top. So basically for the top performers, they are not really that attractive. But for regular players, they are doing quite well. So there's nothing really wrong with them.
No, and we keep a very close eye on them. And we buffed the secondaries for German battleships. We buffed the Sigma, which was one of the biggest complaints for German battleships. And they're doing fine. If we see the need to buff them further, we will do it. But we don't want to overbuff them. Just like any other ship. Like, we want to have things in balance. And just because one ship is not the best doesn't mean we should go and, just keep buffing that, because then we will be in a position where we just power creep the hell out of everything. If you would go like, oh, I don't know, the Kurfürst is not the best battleship, so let's buff it to be the best battleship. And then the French players are coming, doesn't say like, well, the Republique is not the best battleship, please buff it. We buff that ship. And then we have the Americans player coming saying like, oh, the Montana, it's definitely not the best battleship, please buff it. We say, okay, you know what? We'll make it the best battleship, so let's buff it there. And then we have, the guys who like to play the Kremlin coming back to us and saying like, hey, you know what? You nerfed my ship to hell, and now all the other ships are better, so please buff my ship again. That will just be like, I don't know, like a vicious circle. So that's not what we want to do. We want to keep things in balance. And the German battleships were okay actually before we did the Sigma buff. They're now better, but definitely not the worst out there. We just treat them all equally. Yes, look, we are trying. But you have to understand, unless the ships are all equal in terms of the caliber, the guns, the shell velocity, the consumables, the HP pool, the armor pattern, all of these factors, if that is not the same, they will be different. Because they have different playstyles and people play them differently, and there is a shift in meta all the time. So if you have, I don't know, for example, games that have a lot of, cruisers, then battleships that are very good at blapping cruisers will be better. Then you might have a very DD heavy meta. So for example, ships that can be more maneuverable, maybe have hydro, are going to be better with that. And all of this is interacting with each other. We're talking about by now 350 ships in the game interacting with each other. And we're always trying to keep them on a level where they're all roughly within a certain margin that we consider to be equal. But there will always be a ship that is going to be better than another ship in a specific scenario.
My very favorite example is ages ago the RPG Tier 7 cruisers in ranked battles. That was a very nice laboratory because the win rate difference between the best and the worst of the exactly same ship was 4% because obviously of the player base.
Yes. It's just something you have to keep in mind. Like we don't want to have a game that is unbalanced. Because we know that especially in a PvP game, balance is paramount. But it's not as easy to say like, oh, you just treat them equally. It's not that easy. We do treat them equally, but we need to, we want to have ships to be different, and that will result in differences in how they perform. That's the reason why you see, for example, in competitive, certain ships are very strong, and other ships are not used. While these other ships might be better in random battles. Depends on what you're looking for in a ship and how it contributes to winning. And it's very different, from random battles to, let's say, ranked battles to clan battles. All of these things are in tournaments, right? All of this is different. And we can get that eagle. If I could actually hit it. Good job. What happens if I buy Mikoyan and then unlock it with the tokens? You should get compensation in doubloons. As far as I know. But for Mikoyan, let's double check. Actually, Tuccy, could you maybe double check in the background for Mikoyan?
Sorry, what?
Mikoyan compensation if you bought her and then unlock her with tokens. Is it going to be in doubloons? Because it should. Take my fire, ease mine up.
Crysantos, are you Greek? Crysantos is a Greek name.
It is,
Your
and I know it's the
favorite
golden.
question.
Yes, it's funny. So actually, yesterday I had an interview with TC Freer, and that actually came up because of my nickname. The nickname is Greek, but not by design. It's just my real name is Christian, so Christian, right? German Christian. And I was looking for a nickname that has Chris inside, and I don't know why I just picked Crysantos. It was just something I was like, oh, that works for me. And then I was playing EVE Online, actually. Before, when I had that nickname, nobody ever approached me in Greek. Nobody. But because I dropped the last name and just stuck to Crysantos for World of Warships, suddenly I had Greek players greeting me with Kalispera here, Kalispera there. It's like, okay, nice. Greek players seem to be very nice. They always say hello to me specifically. Until at one point, they were talking to me in Greek. It's like, I can't figure it out. Why are you talking to me in Greek? Like, where is this coming from? Until they told me, it's like, yeah, but your name is Greek. Like, why? What do you mean? Yeah, it means golden flower. And I think by now I figured out actually where it came from, because my mom loves to do a lot of gardening, and we have chrysanthemum actually in the garden. So I guess subconsciously I picked a name that, is related to that. But yeah, it's not by choice that it's a Greek name, or not it's by accident more.
Vinianka, Crysantos, Christian is Greek too, mate.
It is. I know. So at least I'm keeping the theme.
And as for the Mikoyan question, if you already have a Mikoyan in your port, the bundle will provide you with a commander port slot, a compensation for the ship in the form of doubloons.
Yes.
If you buy it for the tokens.
It's usually like if you buy the ship and then you get it back with like some other form, we will just give you the doubloons back. We won't punish you for being an active player.
Okay, Wilda, it seems to have some problems logging in Twitch. Maybe try a different browser.
That might be
Because the thing you described looks like probably like something where the browser interaction is not working right.
Okay, I have to give Asuri +1 because he was reacting to something that I didn't pay attention to. Which means we're almost getting capped here.
Elmac 1956, sorry I missed the beginning of the stream. Is Mr. Conway okay, or is he just doing something else today? He's doing something else today.
He's on vacation, the slacker.
Yes.
Slacker. No, I mean he deserved that vacation because we all were trying to figure out when to have vacation, and he decided to have some right now because it's been ages since he was on vacation. So I hope he has some fun. If he's not actually chilling in the background lurking.
Shakadi, a really random question. Do you guys get to rock around the clock with the folks at World of Tanks, or are you all strangers to each other? Well, we are not complete strangers to each other, but we are in Prague, they are in Paris, so like we know about them, they know about us.
I mean, look, they are working for an inferior game, clearly, right? But we still love them. No, we actually, I still have a lot of contact with the guys from World of Tanks, especially the guys that I've been working with in Paris, because they're good friends of mine. We don't get to play together as much as we want to, but they're good guys. They're good guys. Please don't shoot me, Massachusetts. Thank you. Raid. Well, Tuccy, like he knows World of Tanks very, very well. He's a decent World of Tanks player. I'm not. Like I was happy to break even with 50% win rate.
So was I.
But I'm more of a ships guy. I like big caliber guns. Like even a destroyer gun is bigger than most guns in World of Tanks. And actually, who rated us? Sorry, chat, I was just not paying too much attention there. So whoever rated us, thank you very much. No mission? The mission should be there, guys. So you will get it at some point during the stream, probably. Like soonish. Should have gone live at around 6, and then it takes a while for you to get the mission because you have to watch, right? Not yet? Well, then you will get it at some point. Just keep watching. If there's any issue with it, we'll fix it. But I don't think there is any issue. Okay, the Massachusetts is gone, and they are trying to defend, so that's probably going to be the battle. Didn't really deal a lot of damage, but we were able to angle, get 1 million potential damage, and have some fun.
This is where the fun begins.
Hey, my golden flower. Yeah, I knew this was going to happen, but I've shared this story many times, so by now I'm used to it. It's okay. I got the mission, and it's co-op doable. Thanks. Yeah, Mantra, and this is something like I try to highlight. We are very happy to incorporate feedback. The same thing is true for like the Twitch drops missions that Mr. Conway me built. Initially, we were doing mostly PvP stuff because most of the guys, getting Twitch drops and who were a part of our streams were mostly PvP guys. But recently, we got a lot of influx also of co-op players, and we will adapt to that. For this update, there will be mission 1. I think is the only one that is going to be doable in co-op, but in 0.9.5, all missions should be doable in co-op. And we'll try to keep it that way that you either have a choice, because we have soon TM a new mission system that can have like an or option where you can say, you can either say, let's say win 5 battles in PvP or win 10 battles in co-op. So we don't have to scale up the requirements for the missions too much, and can still have both co-op and PvP. But since we're planning in advance, usually like 2-3 months for these missions, it takes a bit for us to be able to incorporate these changes. And I hope that over time you see, hey, these guys are listening. Hopefully you think, thank you. Gunnar, just give it a few more minutes, then maybe. It might just be, Twitch also being a bit overloaded with stuff at the moment. Oh man, we almost had 333,333. A lot of threes in this. Okay, I got my win on this ship, so I'm happy. So chat, now it's your time to decide what are we going to play next. And we actually got quite a few missions done. Actually got a campaign mission done, so let's check. It's probably strong-willed. I didn't really do too much here. Okay, we did the final task. Didn't really play for this specific campaign. I'm just going to do it on the side. Be the top XP earner on your team. Gain a victory. Destroy enemy ships in a single battle. Okay, that's reasonable. Actually, 3 stars is very nice. Let's do this. But chat, I'll play Lenin or Kirov. Kirov. Okay, chat. I'll let you decide. Lenin or Kirov. Yes, just got it. Very easy to do. Happy to hear, guys. So, guys, if you didn't get it yet, just give it a few minutes. I'm sure it's going to drop. Okay, Kirov, Lenin. Oh man, it's close, guys. I need a few more. Oh god, it's still 50-50. It's still 50-50. Okay, more Kirovs, I think. Kirov. Okay, we'll go. You know what, chat? We'll do both. We'll play Kirov and then we'll play Madame Lenin.
Of course, once you mentioned Kirov, there is Kirov reporting in the chat.
Yes, of course. So, Korvettenkapitän, I hope you're here and joining us. And I still have one slot. Well, actually, Tiger, let's see. So we're going to be playing tier 5.
Why does Admiral Hipper have worse turtleback and worse sloped citadel armor than Eugene? I'm triggering Chris. / mines, as well as worse turret armor than Eugene? Okay, Eugen. Well, because the Admiral Hipper was an earlier ship, and Prince Eugen incorporated some improvements that Admiral Hipper got in during her lifetime, and got some more improvements, all in all.
So I'm just going to migrate this captain. It's one of the perks of working for Wargaming. Get 500 daily doubloons, so I'll use that for this one. And I think I have don't I have a perma camouflage? No. Oh no, now we have to decide what to put on here. Okay, this is for Tuccy. We'll do the school bus.
Oh yes.
I hate that camo. It looks so ugly. It looks so ugly. Look at it. Look at it.
For the next battle, take on the roses.
Oh, God. Are you making me do this?
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Any specific reason why the Russian battleships have a limited amount of repair kits from RW Oreo? Yes, there is a specific reason. It's kind of their perk. The repair party is a bit better than on the normal ships with a longer duration of the fire immunity and stuff. But on the other hand, you pay for it by limited charges.
Mhm.
So it's basically a game balance thing.
Yes, absolutely. And I think it's a necessary one. But it's just different playstyle. We actually tried it with the Oktyabskaya Revolucja, and it worked really well. So it's like...
GTech computers. Oh, my OMG, how many doubloons this guy has.
OMG! I'm surprised you talk about the doubloons and not the credits or anything else, or my selection of camouflages or signal flags that I just got by playing. But the doubloons, I actually get 500 doubloons per day as being an employee for Wargaming, so that's one of the perks. Let's get a bit of speed, and then I think I'll just take some. Actually, no. I know, chat. I know you're gonna be triggered by this because I'm still being very German and saving up signal flags, even though I have 1400. I know.
Jarrod 997. What's the next 1 or 2 tech tree lines in the works? What about the German carriers?
Yes, Karamba says, be prepared to explode, Chris. Kirov is the OG glass cannon. So look, I've played the Kirov quite a while. I played it back in the day when I was grinding the Soviet line for the first time. But I recently also played it again on the NA server when I was grinding my Soviet cruiser line over there. So I know how to play it. It can be a lot of fun. You have to be careful, right? Because the armor pattern, taking a look at this, right? Let's drop this down here. 13 millimeters. That's not going to withstand a lot of firepower, right? Just basically multiply it by 14.3 and you will know what kind of caliber will overmatch, and it means any battleship pretty much will overmatch this.
Goober 1972 at World of Warships. So at what point can you angle in the Soviets where it would actually make a difference?
So I hope Tiger, please change your tier. We are on tier 5, not tier 6. Eagle is not a tier 5 ship. So angling in general is actually rewarded in the game. But for you to make a really big difference, you will probably see that change at least for the, let's say, light cruiser line with Donskoy and then Alexander Nevsky. Before that, the Chapayev and the Stros, for example, and the Bajani, they're all very lightly armored. And angling, it always depends on what you're looking for, right? If you angle, take a look at the plating here. The Citadel armor belt should be able to bounce if you angle properly. Then the upper plating, that's going to be the problematic part because they will still be overmatching. The best way to calculate this for yourself is just get used to taking that armor plating thickness and multiply it by 14.3, and that's the threshold for something we call in the game overmatch, which means that no matter what angle the shell hits on, it will penetrate. And that will lead to a lot of damage taken. So as soon as you know that value, you know which kind of ships, especially battleships, will be able to penetrate you on that, and that gives you an idea. Think about the kind of ships that are on your tier and ships that are above your tier. Usually, like the game progresses in terms of calibers, where you see, for example, at tier 7 used to be the place where 406 millimeters and more were introduced into the game. You have some exceptions now with, for example, Mutsu on tier 6, or what else do we have? A Warspite? No, not Warspite. Warspite is already 380 millimeters, right?
That's right.
Warspite is 380 millimeters, right?
Yes.
Which one was I thinking about? West Virginia? Doesn't West Virginia have?
No, West Virginia has 406.
406, exactly. Look, that was what I was looking for. So West Virginia and Mutsu, for example, are exceptions on tier 6. We will see this. But as soon as you get used to knowing what ships roughly have what caliber, it then enables you to use that angling to your advantage. Perfect. Okay, we got a double Kirov. Is Wargaming working on a fix for the desync problem? So, Spicy Cream. First of all, yes, we already fixed part of it with today's update. We fixed the dive bombers issue with desync. And for the shells, we're working on this, but it's going to take a bit longer. Probably a few update cycles. But as soon as we got it, we will fix it. But I understand. I understand that it's really it's not something you want to have in the game, and it's on our top list of things to fix. I sunk your waifu? I can't really say I had that issue. So I cannot really comment on this, but I don't think there should be any difference in armor. Maybe the Mainz has a bit of a better lower belt protection at the aft. Maybe that.
Yeah, but I also didn't really notice getting engine knocked out too often.
Please provide containers to complete collection mission at Profiled Armory, like what you did with the Italian collection. Which one do you mean, Cole? I mean, we cycle. Actually, we introduce most of the containers into the armory at some point. So it depends on what collection you're talking about. So basically, no ship in the game can Citadel Kremlin. Basil, you know it's not true. I've Citadeled a fair share of Kremlins in my career here in World of Warships, but it's definitely harder on range. But if you get close enough, you will definitely Citadel.
Yeah, like close enough from the side, even heavy cruisers can usually do it.
Yeah. For the upcoming ranked season, what's your go-to tier 7 ship? Oof. So, Tuccy, you go first.
Okay. Well, even though I'm usually a destroyer player, on a tier 7 ranked, I love the Terrible Twins, the Scharnhorst and the Gneisenau, because they are a lot of fun, they are fast, they have secondaries, they have torpedoes, they are basically like overgrown cruisers, and in the situation when they are guaranteed top tier, they are absolute beasts. I have to say, I often see people preferring Scharnhorst, but I prefer Gneisenau because Gneisenau doesn't have problem with enemy battleships. Scharnhorst can have issues because she's small guns. And other than that, I think I will abuse Shiratsuyu. I'll definitely go for some battles with Mehen and with, which is the tier 7 European DD, Skåne? Skåne.
I think Skåne is going to be a great pick.
Yeah,
actually.
Skåne will be killer. That's like stuff. And but yeah, I will every now and then I will take Scharnhorst or Gneisenau, and I will hope for overconfident people in Belfast because they are so much fun to hunt.
For me, it's probably going to be a mix of things. I think last time I played the Sinop, which is a very, very strong ship, if not up-tiered. But I think I want to give the Duke of York a try, because I haven't played her since she was buffed. So
true, she might be a good thing after the buff, yeah.
Yeah, and otherwise it just depends on what floats my boat. Like I usually at the beginning of the season I pick a ship. Right now I didn't really think about it too much yet, but something like I also like the Haida a lot. It's a bit different. And oh, Emerald, are you doing this? Are you doing this? Oh man, you're probably going to try this, huh? I might overmatch you. I might overpen, sorry, not overmatch. But maybe this is also a bunch of citadels. At least one. There's a Murmansk back there. Take care of you next. Because that's a great thing. The Kirov has great guns. I need to be careful with that Nagato. I just don't want to be too overconfident here. Murmansk on that. Okay, perfect. That Nagato is my problem, but he's not paying attention to me, so that's okay. I'm a bit too aggressive here, but that's okay. Oh, is he moving into it? I think the Nagato just noticed me.
Lee Benson, can you please add a card to the premium shop if you're going to make buying camos 10 at a time? Yeah, we see this suggestion a lot, so we are poking this up the chain. Well, once it's possible, we will definitely consider it. Right now, we don't have the option, but we know that a lot of people are facing these issues. especially with some payment methods that are not really taking well multiple transactions. KO2AL1, Crysantos, if not possible to provide containers at Armory to complete it, just delete it from our page. Oh, you mean the collections? Well, for old collections, they sometimes are popping up in the Armory. So keep an eye on the Armory. Obviously, it always takes them some time after the collection is first released, so you might have to wait some time, but generally we want to give you a chance to finish the collections.
Yep. Yeah, but that's why I was asking if you have any specific collection in mind, because for most collections we actually do this. Oh, I hope the London is not breaking into that. Is that the Minsk? Oof, that hurt him. Where did those torps come from?
Shipbuilding collection crates are not in the Armory. Yes, they are not, but that's what I said. It sometimes takes a longer time to get there, or it takes some time. Basically, the shipbuilding collection was last Christmas, so I definitely wouldn't expect it during the year. But for example, the last year's Christmas containers for collection returned into the Armory basically roughly after a year. So take it some time, but they are most likely to appear sometime.
Looks like the Skåne here. Minsk is over here, okay. Couldn't really read it before. Can we get a fire? No, we can't.
Damn it. Where's my mouse?
What will be the research cost for Nevsky be? Oof, I don't know out of the back of my head.
Yeah, but it would be generally comparable to Moscow.
Yeah. See, engineer says, all I can say is keep up the good work and bring on me ships when you can. We try, man. We try to, you know, keep it up and provide you with cool content in the game. That's our goal. Do we earn research points for both Moscow and Nevsky on the same reset? Did I understand it correctly? No, you will earn it on the Nevsky. But you will get a bonus for that. I would so like to punish him. Okay, guys, I need you, like, Prien, I need you to push in, because I cannot really tank for you guys much longer. I know that's a tier 7 battleship, but he's quite low on health, so you can actually afford to get into the fight with him. When they make the Kirov premium, what happens to our Kirov? Well, your Kirov will be taken away. It will then return overnight. Like, you won't see the difference, right? But it will be basically moving out of the port and coming back as a premium ship. And then in the tech tree, you're going to be missing the tier 5. If you want to unlock it, you will have to just research. Ooh. So we got the cap.
And since we are getting close to the end of the stream, well, depends on how close, but still I'm going to spam the survey link again. If you didn't fill in the survey yet, please do. We really want to see the fresh feedback for the new update. It helps us a lot to basically see what are we doing right, what we might improve, what are your opinions, what you like, what you don't like, and stuff like that. So please fill it in.
I really need that Nagato out of the game. Come on, guys. You can do it. I believe. You're really spamming it. Wow. You were not lying there.
I'm not spamming it nearly as much as Mr. Conway does.
That's true. But he's the master of spam.
Yes. So I'm aspiring to be him, but I don't have the dedication. There is only so many times I can press the Control V enter.
Oh.
Any chance to bring Aegir's long-range secondary armament back? It looks too boring now. Well, that was basically the that's basically the thing with the Aegir, why we changed her from the secondary focus cruiser, because it didn't really work that well. I mean, a lot of people think it was a fun concept, but at the same time, a lot of people who even tested her got the distinct impression that she's way too weak. And basically it's very hard to balance a ship that is based around the secondaries as a perk, to balance her so that she's not too weak, but not too strong as well. Canada is asking, hi, how long will the survey last? I didn't have time to play it yet. Then fill it in over the weekend.
It's gonna be open for a while.
And by the way, hello, because I don't know if you recognize him, Chris, but it's one of the guys who used to work in the Prague office.
Oh, no, I didn't.
And he was very interested in warships.
Ah, yeah, I remember the person, yes,
Yeah.
but I didn't recognize the nickname.
So I'm glad that you are watching us as well.
Alchemist, what do you mean it didn't work that well? People loved it. Just look at how many people complained about you taking it away. But guys, I'm sorry.
Those are generally people who didn't get to play it.
No, but it's also, look, that's the point, right? And it's also it also plays a bit into, like, you know, why we're changing the way how we do early access for CCs and so on. When we made changes to the Aegir and, you know, try to have it as a ship that works in terms of stats but also has unique kind of playstyle, most of the feedback we got is, as soon as we started nerfing the ship, is that, oh, it's going to be unplayable, it's not fun, it's no nothing. So there was a lot of negative feedback about the ship. If you take a look at the feedback that we received at that time, the feedback was really, well, there's no point in playing this ship. Oh, you know, if you nerf the secondaries, it doesn't work in that way. So that's why we thought, okay, we need to change the concept of the ship. Because also partially because, you know, the way the ship works with the turrets and so on, in a close range brawl, it doesn't really play to that strength of having that kind of secondary build. So it's always a matter also of, like, if you, and I'm sorry, I'm not talking to you specifically whoever brought up that feedback, but if we see, you know, we take a look at ships, we take a look at the feedback we get from CCs, we take a look at the feedback that people watching that kind of content, you know, sharing about the ship, and if we have big concerns that, okay, that ship might not really work, we need to do something. That's the honest truth. Like, we need to do something about it. And in that scenario for us with the Aegir, it was, okay, if we cannot really make that secondary build work in a sense that people think it's good to play it that way, we need to go for a more, let's say, conservative approach. Which I understand that, you know, you would like to have like a secondary build cruiser as well, and I hope we're going to be able to build one in the future, but it's probably not going to be Aegir. And in the meantime, I will just switch to camera both. I think we can. I'll play one more match because it's
one more. Okay.
Just one more round.
TASAP 1977. I reset the Soviet line and I'm just back up to DMD. Oh, Donskoy at tier 9. What happens if I don't get back to Moscow in time? What will happen to the research point for Moscow? You will have the research point on the Nevsky. Basically, if you reset your line, the research points stay on the tier 10 of the line. So once the update hits, Moskva gets replaced by Nevsky and the Tech 3, and once you unlock the Nevsky, you will have the research points there. Based Cigar, when will early access end? Well, this round of early access should end with the next update.
I mean, the early access will theoretically still go on also through 0.9.5 because the tech tree release will be in 0.9.6. But I think the only chance to get your hands on tokens is going to be during this update. You will still be able to spend them during the next update, but I don't think there's going to be any chance to get additional tokens during 0.9.5 because there's other cool shit happening in 0.9.5. I'll play the Lenin, by the way. because I remember that we actually wanted to play this until somebody told me to play Kirov. And I think I'll just go for Mr. Kuznetsov. When can I learn? When can I earn money while I'm playing this fantastic game? Q, that's a challenge for you to figure out. And as soon as you have the answer for that, you can tell it to me. Look, I do get money for doing this particular part here, but usually for streams, actually, I'm staying longer than I should to just, have some fun with you guys. Any possibility of discount coupons for the legendary commanders in the armory? There's a chance, but I don't know how likely it is that it will be introduced. How do the works for the PTS work? I played every time to try and get the tier 6 ship, but there are no news about it. Well, because we are currently in the spring season, right?
Yes.
And that was update 0.9.3, 4, and 5, I think. Or was it 2, 3, 4? Tucky's
3, 4, 5.
3, 4, 5. So you have to do the mission in each of the updates. So PT for 0.9.3, PT 0.9.4, and if you also do it for 0.9.5, then after all of these PTs are done, we will then grab the list of people who managed to do the mission, and then we will send you that crate and let you know about it. So you will have to just play one more. I hope that answers your question. Otherwise, in terms of PT rewards, right now it will always be our magical Mr. Tucky for the European server who will put these rewards on the portal on the claim page, and then you can just by clicking a button redeem all of these rewards on your main account. And am I right in saying that the rewards were already put onto the claim page, Mr. Tucky?
Yes, the rewards for the EU server were activated today, so go to the claim page and, claim them.
Why does Tucky sound so low? He doesn't. Tucky say something.
I'm saying something? Do I still sound too low?
He doesn't look like he's low. But maybe he was just, not talking very loudly.
Yeah.
Mr. Lord of Droid.
Maybe.
Were there any rewards today? Trust me, as I said, the rewards for the last update, PT cycle, are up, except for the submarine rewards, right? Or are they there as well with the submarine flag? And
they
so
are
on?
there as well.
They're there as well.
Yeah.
Even better.
Yeah. All the regular rewards for the update are there. The reward for this update for the spring. What's the word? For the spring season should be credited soon. The update reward and then the entire spring reward. It will come later.
Mm-hmm. How did you start working for Wargaming? Oh, Tucky, you share your story first while I get into position.
Okay, so I was on this internet forum that was a lot involved with military history, especially with tanks. So suddenly, one day there started a thread about, hey, there is this new game with tanks. It looks quite fun. So I resisted for some time because I generally wasn't really much into online playing. But the screenshots looked nice, so I joined the closed beta of World of Tanks. Then I started posting on the forum and arguing, obviously. And since I was doing it probably politely enough, I got approached to be a moderator. And then when the Paris branch started, I applied for a community position.
One of us.
Yes, exactly. And that's how I got there.
Yeah, for me, different story, different background, but still, I actually studied to become a teacher. And I was streaming World of Warships as a contributor in early 2016. And then I was actually invited to the amazing show match that we had in Warsaw for the Wargaming Grand League Finals, which was a meme fest with the USS Atago and, what was it, the Atago with 20-centimeter guns and stuff like this. And actually I met cool people like Mr. Conway and other people, over the internet and in person also on that event. And I really liked Wargaming as a company because I had a really good relationship. And they were looking for a German community coordinator back then. And so once I finished my studies, I actually applied to get that role, and then I joined. And I don't regret it so far. Unless you guys make me regret it, but please don't. God, 2016, you're getting old, man, Mungo. And I know you've been there, Mungo. I know that. And for me, it's one of the most rewarding things to know that a lot of you have been like around the game for the same amount of time. It's something that I think is very special to have a community that has been that loyal and with the game for such a long time. And we know each other, right? We've been through the good and the bad and like all the things in between together. I should have shot that Hatsuharu. Just saw your really old competitive video on Flamu's channel. Yeah, I used to play with a lot of potatoes in the what was it? God, what was our team called? Viribus. Oh God, I forgot it. We were like, because I used to play for Omni actually back in the day when team battles were there with Flamu in the team. So we've known each other for a very long time, and it was really fun to play. And I'm talking a lot, and there's a lot of ships around me that are trying to kill me. But yeah, it was really fun. We were actually unbeaten for like 70 games. That was quite fun. We had teams hunting us to try to take that away from us. But I haven't played any competitive in a very long time. But on the other hand, I'm now able to, do King of the Sea and, make sure there's a really cool broadcast around that. So I'm happy in my position. You can still view those videos. Yeah,
Yes.
It takes you back into old times. And warships looked so different. I actually watched some old videos a while ago, and oh God, that Hatsuharu is definitely going to nuke me with torps. But he put it on my old position, so I'll take that. Yeah, it's like, for example, the old ribbons. Do you remember the old ribbons and the old shell tracers? I do.
Well, I remember the old
that doesn't count. That's
artillery
dinosaur
Yes.
times.
Because there was this time back in the alpha when for the battleships at long range you can switch to basic like overhead view, kind of like the old view for carriers, and aim that way. But it was kind of a bit boring, so we changed to the current system.
Come on, show me that booty. Was it with the Jingles and the crew? That was that was with Jingles.
Yes.
The match, and they put us like, that's one of the fun stories to tell from that broadcast. Is they wanted us, because all of that was arranged very last minute. They wanted us to wear like special shirts, and they only had M, and we all had to squeeze into M-sized shirts. And trust me, there wasn't that much fun because we were all big boys. All of us big boys, Isolate, me, and so on. Oh, the Cenob is here as well. I definitely need to get an angle here. That was fun times. I think we all, like, it's not, like, nobody regrets this, but it was definitely a very unique experience. Don't incap my turrets, man. That was unfair. I'll shoot you for that. If I can actually hit. That was not very good. Okay, Graf Spee. God, Graf Spee definitely launched torpedoes. Okay, can we heal? Can we heal? See, reminiscing gets you killed. Did 80k damage though. Okay, if you didn't launch torpedoes yet, you will do it now. Yup, here are the torps. I won't be really able to go through that.
Yakita Seal, that was a fun video to watch, but the commentary was terrible, I have to say, for the actual games.
Look, I could tell you stories about that.
Yes, it was basically the very first time anyone attempted this, like on such a scale. And at the same time, the team that was doing it was tanks oriented, so they didn't really know that much about the game, and they were enamored with the planes, so they kind of were missing the actions while watching the planes flying around. So
because I can tell you why. So we can do a little bit of like old times chat about this. And also I don't know what's up over here, but there must be free beer in this corner because that's where all of our ships are at. But while we're looking at this, actually let's go into like this camera. So when we arrived in Warsaw, most of the event was actually themed around World of Tanks. Obviously, it was the Wargaming Grand League Finals, right? Best teams of World of Tanks playing against each other, Navi and so on. And it was quite entertaining, even for me as like a not big World of Tanks fan, but it was cool to see like so many people watching esports, which was a new thing for me. And when we were talking to the camera guys, they were obviously from, I think it was from ESL back then. They were used to taking a look at World of Tanks gameplay. And World of Warships works completely differently in terms of like what you want to showcase. The movements are slower, and the first 2 minutes are kind of boring. You know, people like all of the ships are getting into position, and most of the casters you will see these days talking about competitive gameplay will talk about the map, the setup, and so on. But these guys didn't really know what to do with the cameras. So we had Strangers in the team. And Strangers was a CV player, and he was trying to get across to the guys that, hey, in the first 2 minutes, you won't really see much in terms of how ships are going to move, because they won't shoot, they will get into position. Back then, there was a lot of like smoke meta going on, like smoke creeping and so on. So you won't really see that. So in the first 2 minutes, you can just follow the planes and see and what he meant is like, you can check what the aircraft carrier is doing, because back then, old RTS style, the aircraft carrier was, in the first 2 minutes, providing the entire intel for the team by spotting the entire map. And the guys were just like, okay, let's zoom in on planes and follow the planes themselves instead of like we were looking for, show them the strategic information. And we had Ekta, who used to be a community manager for Wargaming, including World of Warships. And I know Ekta from my times on the forums before I started working for Wargaming. But he's been obviously a bit out of the loop after working for ESL as a caster. And then he was trying to talk about ships like the USS Otago and the 20-centimeter guns and things like that, which obviously all had like meme character. And that was, I don't know, it was a unique experience. I don't regret being there. I think it was hilarious. It was fun. I think in terms of broadcasting, it could have been way better. And I think we're on a completely different level or universe at this point with King of the Sea. And I hope you agree as well. But it was definitely fun. It was something that came at very short notice. And I think we did the best we could. But I can't tell you how weird it feels to stand in front of a crowd wearing like a team shirt when you're then going to sit down to play a video game. That's an awkward feeling. And they tell you like, look serious. You're standing there like, I'm serious. This is serious business. We're going to play serious games and we're going to whoop the other guys. Right? It's the really, really weird setup. But yeah, it was fun. It was fun. So a little bit of, I don't know, reminiscing. Yep. Good times. And yeah. Tuccy, you wanted to say something and I cut you off. No?
Not really. No?
Not really? Okay. So, yeah, I think, guys, that's going to be it. I've talked a lot for the last 4 hours.
Prince, does anyone know how to equip planes to battleships? I have been trying, but I cannot figure it out. Check the consumables. It's possible that the battleship you have doesn't have access to the plane yet, because it's only for some battleships and only on some tiers. Like, for example, low-tier battleships generally don't have planes, but the top-tier battleships often also don't have planes, or some nations don't have planes at all, some nations have only fighters, some nations have fighter or spotter, so check the consumables.
Yeah. Mustif says, Prague, I guess you mean me. See how you just played aggressive and died quickly? That's how I play, and other players seem not to like it at all, complain a lot. Look, the reason why I died very quickly is that, first of all, I was mostly paying attention to talking, and the rest of the guys around me died. I was supporting my DD, and I was pushing in. But we didn't really have a lot of support because the rest of the team moved to the other part of the map. I personally also don't like if a battleship goes in YOLOs, because it's tricky, and it's something you have to learn over time. Is you shouldn't be at the very back of the map. You should not be at the very front in front of your DDs. You should be in a supporting position. And that position can turn into something really bad very quickly. The reason why I was so aggressive is because I knew I have to deal with that Ismail, I have to deal with the CNOP, and there's a DD right next to me. That means shit's going down. So you need to adapt. And I mean, I did okay. I did like 90k damage, so I definitely pulled my weight. But I could have done better, definitely, with paying a bit more attention to other things. But, you know, it's a part of streaming sometimes that you won't be as good as just, you know, focusing whatever you do. And there was a comment as well about saying, hey, yes, the game has come a very, like a big and long way in the past years, and also in terms of streaming, because back then the devs were completely invisible. Absolutely. And I hope you guys also know to appreciate this, that we do spend the time and effort to make these streams, to get you all of the answers that you're looking for, that you are fully informed, that you have an easy way to access the information. It's also true in terms of devblog and so on. We try to put that information out there as soon as possible so that you have all of the info that you need to get the most out of the game. And
I'll make a last call for the survey.
Yes.
Quickly, so I'll spam it again a few times. So please, guys, if you didn't click it yet, if you came later, please click the link, click the survey, and fill it in, and let us know what do you think about the newest update.
Exactly, guys. Let us know what you think about the new update, and also please play the submarine mode when it comes out, and let us know what you think about that. Because we want to have that in the game, but we don't want to break the game with it. So your feedback is very, very important, and please continue giving us that feedback in a constructive way. Chat, you know it, right? Chat, constructive, good. And I think that's going to be it from my side. You think spammers should be banned, John?
They
I agree.
definitely should be banned. Yes, I agree.
We'll ban Tuccy and send him home now. You were a naughty boy.
I've been caught.
Yes. Actually, the game is going to be flipped in the background. I just see it. I mean, it has the potential of being flipped. So maybe we'll win this. So please, guys, remember a few things. First of all, get your daily shipments to get your containers for the Soviet Cruiser Early Access. Directives and missions will get you a lot of additional containers, up to 48. So if you play this month very actively, you should get the Mikoyan and maybe even some stuff on top of it. And you will get the permanent camouflage for the Mikoyan if you finish all of the directives. And if you buy the Bagration or the Ochakov or the Mikoyan, you will also get an additional mission that is not hidden, but you can find it under the Challenges tab, where you can see how many additional tokens you can get, just in case you're interested in one of these ships. It's an additional perk, to help you with the early access. And for Twitch drops, this week's mission and next week's mission both have as rewards the Soviet Cruiser containers as well, 7 in total. I hope you guys enjoyed. Also, feel free to drop your feedback about the missions there. We have a really big stream happening tomorrow. That's going to be my last thing to announce. So tomorrow, let me actually look up the time quickly when that stream is going to be happening, because tomorrow there's a special stream from our NA team where they're going to have a special guest. It's Captain Bob Batterson. He's a World War II veteran. He actually participated and survived Pearl Harbor. And I think if you're somewhat interested in history, take that chance and go ask your questions. This is like one of the few opportunities to actually, be in touch with somebody who survived that and who's able to share his experience and the stories from back then. And it's going to be happening. I know it's late for EU time zone, but keep in mind this is happening. They're actually broadcasting from the USS Lexington that we have in the game. And it's going to be happening at 11 o'clock Central European Summertime, which means 2100 UTC. If you're interested...
It's a bit late, but well worth the wait.
Yes. Otherwise, I'm sure it will also be available as a YouTube video later on, or you can just watch the VOD on Twitch as well. But it's always best, if you want to ask a question, to maybe just check it out, right? And with that, I think that's going to be it. Tuccy, I'll leave the last words to you, and then I'll just say goodbye.
Well, hey! You missed.
Maybe. I'll take a bigger torpedo next time.
Last words. I never know what are the last words supposed to be. So I think enjoy the new update. Thanks for stopping by with us. Thanks for the chat. I'm sorry that we were not able to answer all the questions and all the comments, but there was a lot of them on both Twitch and YouTube. So thanks for the talk, and yeah, have fun, enjoy the game, and probably see you in a week in the next stream.
Yes, and apparently I was corrected, because that USS Lexington is obviously not that USS Lexington we have in the game. I know it's probably an Essex class carrier, I think. Yes, but at least it shares the name. So give me a little bit of credit for that. Okay, Crysantos Horn, maybe in the future, Shiva. So with that, guys, we actually have to raid somebody.
Yes,
and I didn't check this. So
what message should we prepare?
I don't know, Tuccy. This is your chance to shine and figure out what we're going to say. So we have...
Well, it depends on who we decide to raid. We won't tell you who are we raiding, because you would warn them and it's less fun, but yeah.
So I'm still checking, but have you something prepared? Are you ready to spam it in chat?
Well, it depends on who are we going
Are you even want to adjust it?
If we want to, well.
So we're going to
or let's just make it simple and let's go #Hello from Prague.
Yes, absolutely. So,
So
I'm going to put in the raid.
hashtag.
Say hi to him. I can tell you it's a him. Haven't raided him in a while, so make it count.
So I'm spamming the hashtag into the chat.
So just copy that message, put it over there,
Yes.
and then we'll be back next week, same place, same time, 6 to 8 o'clock. Probably with Tuccy and me again, because Mr. Conway is still on vacation, slacking at home like a pro. And take care, guys. Stay safe, stay healthy. It's still a weird situation outside, so please stay safe. See you, and bye-bye.
Bye-bye. See you.